The big capacity adventure market is a pretty competitive space, with the likes of the BMW R1250 GS always proving popular and the Ducati Multistrada V4 pushing the boundaries of performance and tech. But the KTM 1290 Super Adventure S has a few tricks up its sleeve for 2021. So in today's video, we'll go over the 10 best new features, including one that will almost certainly guarantee a few sales. But before we get started, if you're new here and you want to see more of the latest motorcycle news and reviews right here on YouTube, then please do remember to hit subscribe. Let's start with the big hitting headline update, and that's adaptive cruise control. We've known that it's been in the works at KTM for some time now, as this video from their YouTube channel shows, but this is the first implementation on something you can actually buy. Here's KTM's description of how it works. Developed with Bosch, it uses radar technology to regulate the distance to traffic ahead. Activated over 30 km per hour and in second gear, and up to 150 km per hour once engaged, it will substantially reduce the effort needed by a rider over large trips and in controlled conditions. The distance can be set in 5 stages: very short, short, middle, long and very long, and in both comfort and sport characteristics. The intelligence of the software adds special dynamics such as an overtake assist, which is a short burst of acceleration to aid lane changes and passing, as well as accommodating gear changes with the quick shifter or conventional use of the clutch without deactivation. The system is disengaged when the rider touches either the front or the rear brake. The traditional cruise control option is operated by new handlebar paddles and can be used independently. The new ACC system uses the brakes for effective pace control on descents. Anyone who's used active cruise control on a car will vouch for how much of a help it is on longer journeys. That's not to say that you can mentally switch off, but for me it frees up your mind to concentrate on what's happening around you whilst the vehicle takes care of the throttle. So for me, it's great to see it come to motorcycles, and I can't wait to try it out. In fact, new tech is a running theme on this update, with the WP SAT or semi-active suspension getting a refresh with a new suspension control unit that KTM say adjusts the damping rates with magnetic valves in real time to react to surfaces and rider inputs. The system makes use of data from the 6-axis IMU and can be administered through the TFT dash with 3 modes of comfort, street and sport, with an optional accessory for off-road and auto. There's also an accessory that allows you to tweak the front and rear suspension settings independently, and there's a switchable anti-dive function for the fork as well. The result of all these tweaks is a claimed improvement in sensitivity, feedback and personalization. One of the suspension features that's completely new is a hydraulic preload adjuster that can be manipulated electronically. A sensor on the shock delivers data to the suspension control unit, which then determines how much preload needs to be applied in order to achieve the optimal sag when the bike is loaded up. There are 3 settings for the auto leveling system of low, standard and high, although it is an optional accessory. As standard, you can choose from 10 steps of preload manually through the TFT dash and switchgear. That auto leveling does sound pretty good though, especially if you sometimes ride with luggage and other times without, or if you often pick up a passenger mid-ride. It certainly beats whipping out a C-spanner every time you need to make a change. Lastly, there's now 20mm of preload adjustment, which is double that of the previous generation. The inertial measurement unit that feeds into the electronic suspension and the other rider aids has also been upgraded with brand new hardware that they say is responsible for big improvements in the behavior of these safety systems. KTM say that their MTC traction control system has been reworked in order to make it more intuitive and predictable, whilst the riding modes have also been upgraded. Rain offers maximum traction control, gentle throttle response and limits power to 100 horsepower. Street is the default setting with full power, medium traction control, standard throttle and mild engine braking. Sport gives full power, direct throttle response, softer traction control to allow more wheel spin and maximum acceleration, and off-road is similar to rain with a degree of wheel spin and rear wheel slip to best suit gravelly or slick terrain. There's also an optional rally mode which allows the rider to choose from 9 different levels of permissible wheel spin to set the degree of throttle response from smooth to aggressive, and restricts the wheelie control parameters. You can administer all of this through a new 7-inch TFT dash, which is physically tiltable, which I think is a great feature. Glare can sometimes be a problem, so it'll allow riders of varying heights and riding styles to really get the best out of it. It also has a scratch and glare resistant surface, and the connectivity system that allows you to pair with your phone for calls, music and the rest is also upgraded for a faster and more reliable connection. The switchgear has also been tweaked with the aim of making it simpler to access the sheer wealth of settings available. Paddles have been added to make the cruise control easier to operate, but KTM seem to have acknowledged that most riders will only use a handful of the settings to switch between a few favorites, and so they've looked for ways to do this without having to go right through all the menus. As such, there are 2 new programmable buttons on the switchgear, as well as some quick select and favorite switches, whilst the dash itself has 4 selectable favorite slots on the home screen. So in theory it sounds like a shrewd move, although it's one to test out in the real world before drawing any conclusions. All this tech adds some long distance comfort and convenience, but there are also some physical changes with the same ambition. The tank has been updated with the 3-cell design carried over from the 890 Adventure that holds some of the fuel low in the fairings. It still has the same 23-litre capacity, but that extra bulk will provide some wind protection for the lower legs, as well as lowering the centre of mass when fully fueled. And they've also made some changes to the riding position. The seat is now 11mm lower, with adjustability between 849mm and 869. That's still pretty tall for such a big bike, but there are 11 different seats in the accessories catalogue, which KTM say have a diverse spread of shape and size and thickness, as well as a heated version. A revised windscreen should also aid comfort on longer rides, with a larger surface and refined shape to give more protection. KTM say that both wind tunnel testing and computer modelling helped them to fine-tune this new design, and it can also be raised by a substantial 55mm for even more coverage. This is done with 2 lateral wheels, which they claim can be operated using either hand for adjustments on the move. There have also been some changes to the chassis, with the steering head moving back by 15mm, shortening the frame in order to improve cornering and stability. The subframe, on the other hand, has been extended by 15mm to allow enough space for passengers and luggage, whilst the new shape accommodates the lower seat height. There are a bunch of tweaks to the engine internals, including Euro 5 compliance, but the performance figures remain pretty much the same at 160 horsepower and 138 Nm of peak torque. So really, it's a tech and comfort update, but it's that active cruise control that's the killer feature for me, especially considering it comes as standard. Similar tech is available on a couple of other bikes as a new feature for this year, such as BMW's R1250 RT, but the cheapest price I could generate on their configurator for the basic bike with active cruise control was £17,820, as you're forced to add electronic suspension as well as upgrade the lights to accommodate the radar sensor. The new Ducati Multistrada V4 has a really impressive suite of radar tech, including active cruise control, blind spot detection and rear impact warnings, but the best price I could get for that from their configurator was £20,345, as you have to add their travel pack, which includes luggage, heated grips and seat, and a center stand as well. The 1290 Super Adventure S comes in at just £14,995. So if you do a load of motorway work and really fancy active cruise control this year, then it represents the cheapest way to get hold of it by some margin. And that's why I think a lot of distance-focused riders will go for it. But as always, I'd love to know what you think of it in the comments below. Would you go for this, or is the extra £5 worth it for the Multistrada, especially considering that it has the rear radar too? Let me know down below, and if you're new here and you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe and I'll catch you next time.